Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our second webinar in our series for Autism in Entertainment, Small Employers and Neurodiversity. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Paul Hemstreet, and I'm a producer, an independent producer. My background is I worked at Warner Home Entertainment as Senior Vice President of Creative Content for over 23 years, producing content for the DVDs, discs, and digital releases of the films and TV shows at Warner. I had the privilege of working on projects like Harry Potter, DC Comics films, classics, and their TV shows. I've been an independent producer for 4 years, and I have been working as head of video content for the Autism and Entertainment Group. I produced the Spectrum Spotlight videos that were shown at the conference, as well as heading up neurodivergent crews that shot all the panels and speakers at the conference, and we've been posting them on the Autism and Entertainment website, which I'll tell you a little bit more about. Before I introduce our exciting guest today, I'd like to go over some more background on autism and entertainment. Our mission is to increase employment of work-ready autistic talent in the entertainment industry by expanding diversity to include neurodiversity, enhancing the autism brand by demonstrating their talents and skills, sharing resources and organizations that can facilitate leveraging this talent, enabling the talent to successfully navigate their career paths. This mission is very close to me personally. I have 2 adult kids on the spectrum, one of whom is studying animation. We have this webinar being recorded, and links will be sent to you via email and posted on our Autism and Entertainment website, where you can find all the other speakers from the conference and webinars that we're producing. Like I said, this is our second webinar of the series. Stay tuned for more coming this summer. Without any further ado, I would like to start to bring on our panelists. I'd like to start with Garth Herberg from Spectrum Laboratories. Garth, welcome. Tell us about Spectrum Laboratory.
Thanks, Paul. Good to be here with everybody. Spectrum Laboratory is nearing its 10th year. We began in 2015 with the thought in mind originally to create a production company that was focused around the autism community, but we soon realized that we needed to create fertile grounds for talent to come in, to learn, to train, to excel. So we've since adapted a model that incorporates training, education, and also production. We have programs in music, in voiceover, and acting, filmmaking, primarily. We also have some courses in mindfulness and also art and design to a lesser extent. I think we've prided ourselves on creating a very open environment where we embrace many aspects of the autism spectrum, and more recently, other parts of the disability world. So it's, I would say, neurodiversity is kind of the phrase. We have a neurodiverse and inclusive population coming into Spectrum Laboratory. And that includes our teaching staff, that includes our student base, and also collaborators and clients that we work with. Over the years, we've had many wonderful live events where we've showcased our talent on stage, many film screenings and original films, hundreds of songs that we've produced and released. And we've worked on a variety of projects ranging from short film projects, commercials, podcasts, TV and film projects. We've worked with many voiceover clients. Our composers and musicians have worked on many scores. So yeah, that original model of combining a production house and an education resource for the community has been blossoming. And what you see behind me is our recording studio. So our music and voiceover programs happen here. And we also have a theater location in Burbank, Victory Theater. We work out of there, as well as the Leo Beck campus across from the Getty Center. I believe that's technically in the Bel Air area. But yeah, I think that's a good little summary. I'll take a break so my colleagues can speak. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Garth. It's really quite amazing the scope of Spectrum Labs. I just wanted to ask about how many people are typically enrolled at any one time in your various programs.
Um, Including if I look at the entirety of our programming, I think currently we are at about 70 students enrolled.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Rachel Kopito and Sylvia Owens from Brainstorm Productions.
Thank you.
And Rachel, I think, might be having some issues with audio. Rachel?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm good to go.
Well, welcome, Sylvia and Rachel. Please tell us about Brainstorm.
Thank you. We are an animation training program and a production studio. This program started in 2017, just kind of as the director of a private school for students much younger, K through 12. She noticed in their later years, in their high school years, they just had an affinity for drawing and sketching and characters. So decided that maybe that's something they'd be interested in doing, and started a training program for kids on the spectrum who are interested in animation. That was 6 years ago, not doing the math. I was brought in 4 years ago, and it was a very small program. It was six students, and it was getting towards, where are these guys going to go when they graduate now? This is approaching 2020 when I was brought in. And it was kind of clear. We had then three years of training behind us. And then it was pretty clear that they needed somewhere to go. And that was 2020 when COVID hit. The industry was kind of shutting down, going remote. We're like, oh no, what are we going to do with these trained kids now? So we built a studio. And currently we've got, and then, as it's evolved, we currently have close to 40 participants now, 16 of whom are working, being paid 4 hours a day to work in our production studio. We have so far done many children's books, illustrations. We've done short films. We've done music videos. We're currently working on an anthology of entitled Dreams, and 9 of our studio employees are producing, directing, writing, directing, producing their entire short film. We're almost halfway through releasing it, and anybody that follows us on social media can link to our YouTube channel where you can see the short films. What we plan to compile them and do a whole, thing when they're all finished, but we're super, super proud of that. And like Garth was saying, there's that other side of training too, that it's the human side other than the animation side, where we spend half the time on soft skills because we are employment driven. We are an employment based program. So we do spend quite a bit of time, 50% of the time, on their soft skills, employment skills. And that's time management and, collaboration and communication and those things that tend to get anybody fired, really. And, our theory is you could be the best animator in the world, but if your soft skills aren't there, you're probably not going to keep that job. So that's a huge part of our training program. So, and then I'm going to turn it over to Rachel. Rachel is our lead animation instructor. And what's the other title? Supervising director.
Yeah, I could go.
She's the instructor in our production studio. So she oversees all these guys, 16 currently, with some support, but it's all Rachel, and let her introduce herself.
All right, thank you, Sylvia. Yeah, my name is Rachel. I am what is it? Like Sylvia said, I am the lead production instructor for the studio component of Brainstorm Productions. So I've been, what is it, I've been working with Brainstorm for 2.5 years now. And yeah, so like my part is more of the technical training side. So teaching the clients, keeping them up to date on industry standard software like the Adobe suite and Photoshop, different, basically because the technology is like constantly changing, so the technical skills are obviously a huge component to it. And and I've been sort of supervising the production of these projects, the dreams projects, and the and these commissioned projects that we've done as well. Because while we have taken outside projects to work on for clients, since our funding comes from the regional center, that gives us a lot of extra freedom to work on our own personal projects as well. And so we're hoping to definitely expand more of those personal projects and get our voice out there and benefit the community however we can. And just a quick thing about me specifically, like I'm also a regional center client myself. I do have an official autism diagnosis, and so like obviously like the advocacy component is really important to me personally.
And I have to mention, I was looking for this person, right? The job was being flown for the studio. We had the studio, we needed somebody that could run it. Rachel just happens to have autism. I hired her because she came with a great background. She's an amazingly talented individual. And by the way, I was like, cool, we're all over that. So I love that. I love that we're, walking the walk. I love that we're here showing these clients too. And, I think when Rachel came in, they were like, wow, she's got what I have. And still she's this amazing animator and an amazing instructor as well. So I just had to add that little bit.
I love that. No,
Yeah.
thank you for mentioning that. Thank you, you two. I'd like to bring on our next guest, Lirit Rosenzweig Topaz from Niko Productions. Hi, Lirit. How are you?
Hi, it's Lirit, not
Oh,
Lilith.
thank you
That's
for
okay. That's okay. That's okay. I'm used to it. Hi everyone. I'm Lirit, and I'm the founder and executive producer at Niko Productions, which is an animation production company based in LA with teams of artists located globally. I mean, we have artists here, we have artists in South America, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia, wherever. And I own an animation school as well, called FBF Animation, which is an online animation school where the teachers are from the biggest studios out there, DreamWorks, Pixar, Disney, Illumination, and so on, teaching aspiring animators from all over the world in multiple languages, and in local currencies. Basically, we wanted to bridge the gap between education to work in the industry, and our core is to give opportunities, to open doors, and basically to give equal opportunities to everyone, no matter who they are, where they're from, how much money they have, and so on and so on. I founded both companies 14 years ago. And since then, at the studio, we worked on huge projects for huge brands like Sega, like Marvel, like Harry Potter, like Facebook, like Spielberg's Foundation, and so on and so on and so on, like Dr. Seuss. And with the school, we're teaching basically currently in 3 languages, and we're aiming to open more. And until today, I have people working for us that were our former students, and some of them even work for us for 8, 9, 10 years already. Some of them which I've never met in person. And we started everything many years back, way before COVID, way before it was the thing to work online, and even way before people put emphasis on diversity and inclusion and all of those, because that was our core since day one, 14 years ago, basically to allow opportunities to everyone. Yeah, and that's that.
Thank you. Very impressive, the scope and the global reach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to bring on Rebecca Beam from Zavikon. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending today. I'm Rebecca Beam. I'm the founder and CEO of Zavikon. We are an employment agency and consulting firm focused on placing individuals with disabilities and those who are neurodivergent in career-oriented employment, and we do it in a supported manner. We also work with companies to help consult with them to add this type of hiring to their diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. And build programs. We work with companies, small, medium, and large corporates. We also do job readiness training for our job seekers. And we're really just trying to be the bridge to employment and help employers do it in the right manner. What we have found is that there's an openness for employers to hire, but they don't know how to quite do it right. And so we make sure that we help them set people up for success and put the accommodations, what we call success factors, in place to set everybody up for success. And really, I think as we educate employers on how to do it best, they're going to be able to really experience the benefits of hiring from the autistic community. My background started in this space in 2013 when I helped start a company where we trained adults on the autism spectrum to do software testing. And we built it, we grew it, we sold it. And it was during that journey of being the CEO for that company that bought us that I realized that there was this huge need for a Zavikon in the world. So launched Zavikon in 2021, and we are off to the races. We're also one of the sponsors of the Autism In Entertainment Conference. And we are just excited and energized by this new movement.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being a part of this today. I think it's interesting you talk about success factors because I think everybody here in your different organizations are setting up for success as part of your programs, which is so impressive. I'd like to open up the discussion and pose some questions here to the group. Most all of you have an education component and a studio component to your companies. And I'm just curious, first, can you talk a little bit about how you bring people into your organization and how much movement is there from the educational side to the studio side? How do you get your students? Where do you draw in your people to become part of your companies? Who would like to start? Garth?
Sure. We try to keep the barrier to entry as low as we possibly can, because we're not only employment focused. I would say that's a more recent objective. Maybe in the last 3 or 4 years, we've become more focused on that. But the core of our mission is really to provide an environment that is very supportive, that provides really great exposure to the arts, and knows how to adapt to and meet the students that come to us where they're at. So I would say it's a very organic progression from students that come into our program, become part of our classes, engage with our teachers and mentors, and then are naturally selected and brought out to participate in projects that we get for hire or projects we do in-house. The students that are the most motivated and driven naturally receive more opportunity, and we naturally want to provide them with more resources. But that progression can take some time. So we've had, over the course of 10 years, the nearly 10 years we've been doing this, we've had many students that began with us and are still with us now. And those students, almost all of them have had professional experience now at Spec Labs, whether it's a student that was interested in music production and is now working as an engineer, or a student that really excelled in music and is now an assistant in our music program, or has been successful. Like, we've had students in our acting programs that have successfully auditioned and gotten work in TV and film. So it's I'd say it's sort of like a 360 degrees of it's a very holistic picture of the people that come in to work with us. We look at them as learners, as students, and then those that are more aspirational as potential professionals, and then working professionals.
That's great. And I want to call out Dominic Brown as one of your notable success stories. We did a spotlight video on Dom for the Spectrum Spotlight series, which you can see on our Autism in Entertainment website. Dom is a hyphenate. He's been through your acting, voiceover, music programs, and if I'm correct, he's actually helping more on the teaching side as well. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Dom is a real Renaissance man. He's assisting with a few classes and has been getting more time and more hours doing that. He's been really wonderful. He has a great attitude, very professional. And yeah, he's continuing to audition for voiceover work and for TV and film work. So yeah, I'd say he is a success story, but he's also a success story in the making. And for any artist that's out there, especially in the entertainment industry, that's trying to pursue acting and music, it is a struggle. And I think one of the things we try to instill, and Dom's a great example of this, is understanding the process and continuing to be consistent in the process of pursuing work and bettering yourself. And understanding that no one is really entitled to work in the entertainment industry, but if you persevere, if you're consistent, if you show up with the best possible attitude you can, you will get work. So Dom is a real great testament to that.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Sylvia, Rachel, would you like to add?
No, I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I think we kind of have the same mindset in that, it's a tough industry, and I think everybody, I think Lirit, I think you could attest to that. It's a tough industry, and these guys come into it wanting to work for Disney, wanting to work for Pixar. And my favorite line is, if it was that easy, I wouldn't have instructors, right? So, but to keep that hope up and to nurture that dream that they all have, I think is super important. And we certainly do that. And Rachel, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, and I think with the program, like, we're definitely it's like starting from the 3-year training program into the studio, it's definitely strength based. Like what is it? Some people come in and start with what is it? And they don't have that much experience with, they don't have as much experience with drawing or animation. And then some people come in and they immediately know it's like, yeah, I love this. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And like kind of keeping it strength based throughout. That's like one of our goals, especially since what is it, in the animation industry, like what is it, since there's, what is it, it's a very difficult industry, but usually you don't have to be, there's a lot of very specific jobs. And so what is it, if there's a specific talent that or something that one of the clients is like really passionate, really skilled about, they don't we will teach them like all the skill, like we will teach them a good variety of skills, but then we want to focus in on what they're good at. Because like in the industry, like you're not required to be a generalist. You can have this one, like, yeah, you can have your, what is it, we really want to kind of explore like that, yeah, their strengths and like based on the individual. So
And I have to mention too, that in the studio, they are employees of the studio, and we're customized employment, and that all falls into it. That falls into, you know, we find the job and we match them to, like, as Rachel said, we matched them to their strengths. And that falls into the whole customized employment format too. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. Lirit, I'd like to talk a little bit about Niko and how you have a global outreach as far as an education component that caters to non-English speakers. Can you tell me more about how that evolved and why this is important?
Sure. So I'm not originally from the States, as it shows. And when I moved here, I mean, I had a long career as a producer, as a TV producer back home. And when I moved to the States, basically I moved because of my husband. He wanted to be an animator. And he didn't have where to study back home as well. He didn't have the opportunity. So he had to move to the States to study here. We were on a long distance relationship for 4 years, which was, of course, it's challenging. And then right when he graduated, we moved here and I had to start everything from scratch. So knowing what he went through to get the opportunity to study in a high level of education to get to where he wanted to get, and there's no opportunity, there weren't opportunities like that. Oh, I lost my headphone. There weren't opportunities back then. So we wanted to give back and to give the opportunities to people outside of the States that don't necessarily have the language, the amount to be paid places in the world and so on. So we opened the first branch in Hebrew, and then very close to that, I opened Niko because I was a producer for so many years for live action. And the thought that came to my mind at the beginning is that physically we're here, I'm connected to the industry, I'm a producer, that's fine, and I can offer opportunities to people that not only I have employees and artists that didn't go to our school, but I will still be able to provide opportunities for people outside of the States graduating and be able to hire them. I took it a little bit further, and the business model for Niko that I set up was that the headquarters is in Los Angeles, but I have people working for us all over the world. So for me, from day one, it didn't matter if it's someone in a small town in Italy or a big city, wherever, as long as they're good and they're a good fit, they can work here through us and be a part of huge projects. And afterwards, we saw the need in Spanish in Latin America there's a lot of talent there. And as well, they didn't have the opportunities to learn in this high level and calibers like we teach in our school. So we opened a branch in Spanish. And from that branch as well, I kept on hiring people from South America. So we have a huge team of artists that are very diverse from other places, other cultures, which I think for creative culture brings a lot to the table. And every day that I'm able to provide opportunities to people, no matter where they're at, it's a dream come true, basically.
That's amazing, and really reflective of entertainment in general today being so global, and really, even though LA is an entertainment capital of the world, we all know how much work is done in other centers, and especially now as we're working more remotely.
And I know how hard is it to get into the industry. It's hard to get into the industry if you're from here. If you're from the States, you don't know where to start. But if you're a foreigner and you're not from the States, it's even harder. And I know what I went through and what my husband went through. So to help others and have them get better opportunities than what we have,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yes. Can you tell us more about how important diversity and inclusion and including neurodiversity as part of diversity is core to your company's mission and your values?
Yes. I think in my core values, because I think that everyone deserves the same opportunity, no matter where you're from and what did you go through life. And with neurodiversity, it doesn't matter. Everyone deserves equal opportunities. So it really doesn't matter, and I don't understand other places that will say no automatically to people that maybe it's a little bit harder for them. All of us, doesn't matter if you have neurodiversity, you have neuro issues or not. All of us have our own things that we're strong with, that we're less strong with, and I still think that all of us should have the same opportunities, right? And to be given a chance. So the same is, we just hired, for example, an amazing artist through Zavikon, Daniel, that I'm more than happy that he joined our team. I think he's great and he's hardworking. And as long as you're talented, hardworking, and trustworthy, everything else doesn't matter.
And I think, Lirit, the fun thing about Daniel is when we placed him, he's like, oh, I'm going to be in Europe for X amount of months. And Lirit's like, no problem. We can work anywhere in the world. And so,
Yeah.
that's proof positive that, at Niko, anybody can be anywhere in the world. And
I've got to say that Daniel is now working on a high profile project that we're aiming very, very high.
Yeah.
I don't think he's even aware of the type of project he's on and what kind of artists are taking place in this project. It's huge. So yes, and he is in Europe now.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this is a perfect segue to talk a little bit more with you, Rebecca, about Zavikon and how Zavikon is a connector to the companies like we have here today represented. Can you talk more about working with small employers versus large employers in the corporate entertainment space? And overall, are there more opportunities for neurodiversity hiring programs with small employers? Can you talk a little bit about the difference?
Yeah, so for sure. We have found that working with the larger employers, there's a lot more red tape and different things that you have to go through to get programs, because they think in a program perspective set up. But when you're working with the smaller employers are nimble. They just do what they have to do to get the job done. And so we find it's much easier. The one thing that we've been able to tap into is the state programs that are being offered So, you know, the regional centers here in California, the Department of Rehabilitation, both have programs that we've been able to tap into to help small employers open their doors, with ease, because it subsidizes a portion of the wages. So it gives smaller employers an opportunity to be able to open their doors for lower costs and then make the pathway for full-time employment in the future. So we've been working with smaller employers on those types of programs like Niko, Spectrum Labs. I see a few other employers on this webinar that we're working with in that regard. We work at Zavikon, we work with all types of talent. So it's not just creative talent. We look at the individual that comes to us, and we try to apply, help them find a position that applies their skills in a meaningful way. And we think about career-oriented employment, because for us, that's so important. Opening, not just finding that job, but helping them open up the doors for a full-fledged career. So eventually they could be living independently if they're not already, and building their career, getting promoted, getting raises, just like everybody else. So that's really what our focus is. However, when it comes to the larger employers, we are making headway. It just takes a little bit longer. And then also I will say, with some of the larger studios, we bump up against union type situations where, for some of these positions, you have to be in the union, which is always a catch-22, because you have to have experience, right, to be able to be in the union. So that's something we need to solve for. But in terms of internships, definitely the larger employers are trying to open their doors for internships.
Do you see there being a possibility for some accommodations with unions for neurodivergent hiring? In other words, having some sort of exception to get around that chicken and the egg problem?
Yeah, we're working on it from, the Autism in Entertainment perspective. I mean, we're pulling together a committee of individuals to ideate and to approach the unions on how we can work better with them. I think it's just going to take this movement that AIE has created, and it's just going to take time. But yes, it is definitely on our agenda to see if we can work with the unions to have them be more neuro-inclusive.
And do you find companies reach out to you more frequently, reach out to Zavikon directly, or do you find it more Zavikon reaching out to employers after individuals have come to you looking for, like, with an idea of working at a place?
Yeah, well, we are doing way more reach out to the companies and knocking down their doors than them coming to us. I mean, we've been doing this since March of 2021, and we are seeing a shift where more and more companies are coming to us because, brand recognition, and there's not a lot of Zavikons in the world. But we've done a lot of knocking on doors. We do a lot of mass mailings and campaigns to raise awareness of neuro-inclusivity and the benefits, because we do know, I mean, there's been studies by Accenture and Disability In that organizations who open their doors to this type of hiring have better shareholder returns, higher productivity, higher revenues. I mean, the studies have been done. And the way that we look at it is, if everybody in the room is thinking the same way, you're not going to solve for the problem, or you're not going to have that brilliant creative moment. When you bring different minds into the room, then you get those aha moments, and you get that creativity that just blossoms. So that's what we're encouraging organizations to think about. But the proof is there that it works.
Absolutely. I'd like to pose to each of you, if you have a success story for your company, either a particular project, initiative, or employee, centered around a neurodiversity, neurodivergent individual. If you could share that with us. And it could be an initiative or a particular person or particular project. Would anyone like to jump in?
Yeah, I can talk about it. Yeah, in terms of what Sylvia did, Sylvia did already mention this, but I'd say, probably at least the most rewarding project that we've been working on so far, and is the this anthology, it's called Dreams, and it's basically, we posed this, to our clients, we gave the prompt of, we want you to make your own short film. It should be under 3 minutes long. And it's like, you'll be directing basically every part of the story, the writing, the animation, etc. And it's going to be about about the idea of dreams and whatever that entails. Go for it. And it was, it's still going on, and we're still posting the films to our YouTube channel. I can post a link in the I can post a link in the chat, but it's been, really, it's turned into a much more ambitious project, but it's incredibly rewarding to see these individual clients just take an idea, all the way through to completion, even if it's especially if it's something like way out of their comfort zone. Like, we have a few of the clients who are saying, like, oh, I really want to make a film. I really want to make a film, but it's like they've never done anything like storyboarding but they had never done anything like storyboarding or animating to this degree, but they had that idea and that drive. And so it was kind of, just a team effort from literally everyone in the studio coming together, and basically using just like kind of trial by fire, discovering like new skills on the fly, and finding new skills, finding everyone's niche. And there's something about, and I guess that's the thing with animation, it's it's a labor of love. It's such a difficult, time-consuming process, but when you actually have like an end product to show for it, and then like seeing the reactions of seeing everyone's reaction when you first see it complete, like that's kind of that's kind of where it's at. So yeah, I'm gonna post the link to the YouTube channel, because it's still going on, and it's just great to see everyone has their own unique idea and vision about like what does the word dream, what do dreams mean to you?
That's
From
beautiful.
my perspective, being a non-animator, I'm the admin's part of this, but from my perspective, it was just seeing them doing something 100% for themselves, and not just do a piece of this here and do, being part of a bigger project, which is how they're taught and how they're trained and what they've been doing in the studio. But to be given this big chunk of independence, if you will, was amazing to see, because these guys, a lot of them realized that they can write a story, they can storyboard, they can see it all come together, they can lead the team, because they were the producer on these projects. They would have to go through all 16 animators in the studio and discover who was best at what, who had the style they wanted. So it was super empowering for them.
Yeah, the creative growth sounds amazing, and the different viewpoints expressed.
Yeah, and tapping into that original thought is like, we're being blown away all the time at these stories, and just the visual, the content, everything about it. And I just really quickly, I also want to mention that we are also currently doing a coloring book for Torrance Memorial Hospital, and that has proven to be a really cool, like Rachel had mentioned earlier, that we want to do more community-based things. We want to do, you know, more things for autism, different autism societies, and for the local schools. I've been in special ed in school districts for many years, so I've still got that content. We would hope to start producing content, training materials for schools, for hospitals, you know, more community outreach like that. That's really what our focus is.
Very good, thank you. Want to talk to the other panelists about other success stories. I also would like to open up to questions in a couple minutes. Garth, do you have anything to share for a success story?
Sure. I think I'll just rattle off a few things. We've had a client for almost 3 years now that has been hiring our voiceover department, and I believe the running total now is 18 voiceover students that have gone to work on that project. It's for and interestingly enough, it's for a speech application that can be used online or on your iOS device. And every student in our voiceover program that's been hired, I think everyone was in speech therapy. So it's kind of a cool full circle moment for them. But that's been really cool, and that project is still running. They're still getting paychecks, and we collaborated with Exceptional Minds and Sesame Street about, I think, 2 years ago. We did the score for 2 animated segments and got to hire on 10 different musicians. So I was kind of helping them with a score reduction, and then arranging and bringing in the musicians into the studio to track everything. We've had some award-winning short films. Boys Don't Wear Dresses has had a great run. I kind of lost count on the amount of awards that short film has gotten. Not to toot our own horn, but it's done really well. It's a great piece. And it was co-directed by a student. We've had many students acting in it, students working on the score for that. Yeah, I could just keep going with other projects that have been really cool that we've worked on. We've done some stuff locally in North Hollywood. We've started up a really interesting program involving puppetry and musical theater. And we now have students that are contributing on every side of that. We have the students that are doing the set design, slides for the show, helping to compose the music with me, and a really great cast. We're seeking to turn that into a professional cast next year. We're working on our second script and production that we'll have ready to go. And yeah, I mean, I'll just stop. There's a lot of things I could talk about. To me, I feel like the successes are pretty constant, and they're great motivation, because this work can be really challenging. But seeing a lot of students and teachers excel with not only their classes, but these projects that we're spearheading, it's what it's all about.
It's so inspiring to have so many successes. Thank you for sharing all that. Rebecca, do you have something you'd like to add?
We have so many success stories through AIE. You know, this has really driven awareness within the studios and different organizations. One of our favorite stories is when we first started the work group, we were able to open up a internship opportunity with the Walt Disney Company for somebody to study color design. And, even though these opportunities may not turn into full-time studio employment, having it on your resume and being able to have the experience. And I guess for the job seekers that are here and the parents of job seekers, what I'll say is that, just keep at it, because as many of the panelists have mentioned, it's not easy to break in. It's an effort of it's a marathon. So, keep on knocking down those doors, because you will be one of those success stories one day if you continue to try to get those doors opened and keep your craft. Also, for those who are, doing creative work, the only thing I can say is keep your portfolios up to date, make them look nice, showcase your skills, continue. And, even if you're not working for someone, always work on your craft so that you can showcase your talent, so that you will be one of those success stories.
Thank you. That's wonderful advice. We're rapidly running out of time. It's been, we could go on and on. It's been so enjoyable talking to everybody. I want to, first, I want to ask Lirit if you have a success story, and then I want to address a couple questions that our guest audiences or audience has asked. We will save the transcript of all your questions so we can review those. And but we're limited in our time to address them today. Lirit, do you have any success story, a short success story you'd like to add?
I not on top of everything I mentioned.
You've had many you mentioned. Thank you. I'd like to, I see a question here from Michael. And his question is, are there job opportunities in the entertainment industries for neurodiverse candidates with job skills other than talent-oriented? For example, a neurodiverse candidate with a math degree, but with a passion for the industry. Would
Yeah.
one of you like to address that?
I will. Yeah, we place people in production finance. I mean, every production has to have the back office behind them to make it happen. So we do production finance, there's production assistants, there's all kinds of things. So yes, you can be involved in the entertainment industry, but not be a creative.
Very good. Thank you. And to that point, I know many people who are physics majors or math majors, and they made the switch. They just kept on following their passion, following their interest. And yes, it is possible to do that for sure. Natalie, I see you're on as well. And if you have seen a question you want to pose, please jump on.
Hi there. I was just looking through to see if there were any other questions. I know that there were a lot of great questions asked earlier. There was some questions about if any of the employers on the line have openings. I believe it was somebody from the regional center who had asked if that information could be provided in the chat, just to let some of the job seekers on the line know which companies, if any, are hiring that are on the line as well.
Anybody like to jump in on that?
Well, I see some questions specific to Zavikon. So people are asking about how, do job seekers pay for our services? No, job seekers do not pay for our services. The employers pay for our services. So for job seekers, it is free. For some of our more intense, like consulting with job seekers in terms of job readiness, training, that type thing, yes, we do bill for those services. But to be in our database and for us looking for an opportunity for you to work with one of these companies, the employer is the one who pays the fee.
I do see an additional question too. So there was a question that asks if students who are a part of Spectrum Labs or Brainstorm Productions or Niko Productions training programs, do you go on to find a job beyond or after the program, or are there other services that are utilized to help find a job after the fact as well?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So we train, I would say, for our students that are in more of the advanced category. They are learning skills to audition and submit and find work in the entertainment industry. And we also make an effort to bring work to them in-house. We're currently working on an artist development program that will be a capstone at Spec Lab. So it's kind of like, for everybody that's thinking, well, what's next? What's next? We really want to solidify all of these trainings that we do with our students and bring on a work resources coordinator. So that's actually something we're looking to hire right now, is somebody that can be completely dedicated to bringing in work resources to Spec Labs. We are training our student base to pursue those resources themselves, and I think that's a very important thing. But everybody could use a little support. So we're trying to target that problem and bring in somebody that's well connected, possibly more than one person, because we're addressing many aspects of the entertainment industry.
Very good. Thank you. At this point, I think we've run out of time, and I thank you all for asking the questions in the audience. I want to suggest everybody follow the panelists here on LinkedIn, follow Spectrum Laboratories, Brainstorm, Niko, Zavikon on social media. Ask us questions if you have any follow-ups. Stay alert to posts and follow the development of these exciting companies and the great work they're all doing. I want to thank everyone, Garth, Rachel, Sylvia, Lirit, Rebecca. Thank you all for spending your time together today and sharing all this really incredible information and inspiring stories with everyone here on the webinar.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. And stay tuned.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And everyone stay tuned to the Autism in Entertainment website for updates on future webinars. We have some exciting ones that we'll be announcing hopefully very soon, happening in the next few months of the summer and into the fall. So thank you again. And I'm glad you're all able to be here.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye.